Many years ago, I was working in the banking industry in Nigeria. I was a banker. I mean, many people don't know that. So I've always been very churchy person. I've loved God for many years since I've been a kid. So my life revolved around church, school, and my house. So I had a kind of a triangular life, and that's paid off today. I thank God I didn't live such a wayward life. But I never knew God was going to call me into the pastoral and ministerial work. So at the early stage of my life, more than 2 decades ago now, I was working in the bank industry in Nigeria. And my salary for a year is about between 1.7 and 2.1. That was a long time ago. That was a lot of money. But there was something inside of me that told me that you are more than this. There is something else that you need to do with your life. So I had something like an internal restlessness. I wanted to climb higher. I was doing fine. I was a young man. I mean, you had like 1.7 million naira per annum to 2.1, around that range, plus allowances. And those were days when dollar to naira was 1 to 15, 1 to 20, 1 to 25. And the country was, wow, economy was very bad. In those days, we thought it was very bad. Now today, Nigerians will bear me witness that it's a different ballgame altogether. So how did I scale from that point in my life to another point? How did I scale to a level where I was able to hand that amount in a month? I was handing it in a year, and the time came in my life, I was handing that amount in a month. It was not a magic. Something happened to me. And I'm going to tell you 6 things that I did that took me from that stage to another level entirely. So I was a bank person going to work in the banking environment. It was a very stressful environment. But because of the zeal of God that was already eating me up and my attitude towards change, I knew that sitting down in that environment was not God's plan for my life. I began to do an internal discovery. Who am I? What is my call? What is my future? So I call it capacity for change. That is number 1. Capacity for change. Now, a lot of people want to change, but they love their status quo. They love their present status. You can't be in love with today and expect tomorrow to come. Now, if you are in love with today and you're so passionate with what you have in your hand, you don't want to let go, tomorrow will not come. So there is something called capacity for change. Capacity and desire. That you have something in your hand, you're grateful to God for it, but once you discover that this is not where I am going, you have to become restless in your heart, in your mind. Don't sit down and settle for complacency. So I was not complacent. So I didn't have the resources, I didn't have the wherewithal, I didn't know what I needed to do. But a time came in my life, I discovered myself. I call it self-discovery. And the capacity for change came out of discovery. So until you discover who you are, until you become restless with your present situation, I mean, you get to a point you're saying to yourself, I've had enough. This situation, this circumstance must stop, must change. I got to that point in my life.